Welcome to the Dawn of Intuition. I'm your host, Jasmine Kindred, and this is the time to awaken to a new way of being. Are you feeling an inner call to make the world a better place or to live more joyfully? We each have this inner compass guiding us to our own unique purpose and gifts. As an intuition and empowerment expert, I dare you to take action on that gut feeling or inner knowing. Intuition is simply a muscle that needs to be strengthened. Whether you need it personally or professionally, your intuitive insights create space for new opportunities. Stay tuned with me for tips and tricks on listening to those quiet whispers of wisdom, my next retreat dates, or how to work with me. Are you ready to live the life of your dreams with more joy and ease? The Dawn of Intuition starts now. Welcome everyone to the Dawn of Intuition, awaken to a new way of being. Today I am so excited to invite my sister, my identical twin sister, back again for the Trust Your Intuition Part 2. A couple weeks ago, if you listened to our show, we were really introducing ourselves, talking about how different we are, how different we receive intuition. I guess the message I want to share today is there's not like one way that's better than another. It's just important to know your way. And by gaining confidence with just these little steps and these little actions, you can have confidence to make bigger changes into your life. You know, a question I love to ask everyone is, how would your life be different if you lived 100% intuitively? You know, really think about that. Would you be in the same job? Would you be in the same relationship? Would you be living in the same home or the same city that you're living in now? And really feeling what that is, because I feel like our intuition is always there, but we just don't trust it. You know, often people say that intuition is a muscle that needs to be exercised. So it's like, okay, I want to just share stories with my sister of how both of us have gained confidence in ourselves and our intuition. So Jasmine, I'm so glad you're here today. Thank you for joining me. This has been a dream of mine for years. I can't believe you finally said yes. And I'm so excited to learn, and I'm so excited for the audience to like meet you and learn about you. So who is Jasmine?
Well, thank you for inviting me back. I'm excited to dive into this part 2, trusting your intuition, because I feel like developing my intuition was a very long and hard path. Like I had mentioned, I just assumed that it was easy for you and really difficult for me because I don't get those typical gut feelings. I am not really connected to my emotions. I'm really headstrong. And I just feel like it took me a long time to realize that intuition comes in different ways. And my way is clear knowing. I just get an idea that pops in my head out of nowhere. There's no rational thought behind it, and there's no emotional charge. It's not my ego telling me to do something based on fear. It's just this clear, subtle message. And that's hard to trust when my rational brain is very headstrong.
So you've said this a couple times, even the last episode, you know, you're clear knowing, but you receive messages. So why do you think, because I consider myself clear audience, I receive a message. For me, that's clear audience. So why do you said I get a message, but like how does that come to you, that message? And why do you say that it's a clear knowing instead of clear hearing?
That's a good question. You're the expert in intuition. I don't know the differences.
Okay.
I know that I get a visual flash of a situation, whereas I think you hear a word or get a clear word. Or sometimes I just know something and I don't know how to explain it. So I'm using the words that I'm getting a message when really it's just, I can't even articulate
Okay.
what the message is. I just know I need to do something.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We don't actually need to be stuck on the words. Like, I just want you to to be able to have confidence deciphering what message. It doesn't need to, you don't need to be like, well, I'm a this, I'm a that. We're all of it. Some moments I'm clairaudient. Sometimes I hear messages, I see visualizations, I have dreams, I have a feeling. I experience them all too. Like what you just said, like three different clairs and ways you receive it. And you're like, I don't know how to call them when I don't know their names. And that's irrelevant. And I even use the word intuition, but it can be gut feeling, an insight, an intuitive hunch. Um, we don't be hung up on the words. It's I just want you to be open to this guidance. And there's different schools of thought. This is interesting. I'm curious your school of thought. So there's different schools of thought for intuition. I come with the belief system that our intuition is more of connection to our higher selves, maybe the universe, universal knowledge, something higher than us, and it sees something bigger for our life than we see. Whereas humans living in this reality of just small vision and going through life, and we don't really see, you know, everything our life can be. I feel like I limit myself a lot, and my intuition just wants me to have it all. And so I come from the school of thought of tapping into a higher knowledge, whether that's my higher self, universe, energy. I don't know. But what's your school of thought? What do you think intuition, or where intuition comes from?
Yeah, I think we have the same school of thought. I do agree with you, where I feel like my higher self can see just, it's like my mind is just seeing the whole picture of my life. And my intuition is seeing, whereas my logical mind is here, in self-limiting beliefs. But my intuition, I find, is expansive. It's giving me expansive messages that allow me to, even see things bigger than I would see for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love sharing the story also, how limited I am in my rational mind. So last year, as you know, I was spending a lot of time in Costa Rica, looking for investments, really with this idea of investing, looking for retirement land, looking for it all, helping, mom find a place. So I was spending a lot of time, like ideal places, looking at like the most gorgeous mountains, gorgeous land, gorgeous everything. I get to the place and I'm like, get me out of here now. Like, and it's, stunning, view stunning. And I was, get me out of here now. Or I was also going in the, okay, my limit, my budget is this, all I need is this. I was looking for an acre. That's what I was ideally looking for. Who am I to ask for more? This is enough, all of the stories I told myself. And then one day I was went to this festival. The whole festival is like, it's important to build community, live with family, plant, food. Like I was in this whole festival for a week of hearing this. Women only, like 10% of women have bought land. Come on, women, like, all of the things. And I was like, okay, so I was really inspired. And I was looking online. I was offline for a week, and I was looking online, and I was guided to an ad for this magical piece of land, and it was 42 acres. And it was like, well, that's too big. Too I don't. That's too much. Like too expensive. Too everything. But it was just like, I need to go look at this land. I need to look at this land. And it had private waterfalls, 160-meter waterfall, another 30-meter waterfall, like virgin land, half jungle where there's still jaguars and pumas, like real jungle. And then the other half was open for retreats, open for like planting a fruit forest at all. So I'm on the land, and in my rational brain, and I showed this to my mom, our mom, our mom, and I was like, oh, it's too far from town, and she was in her rational mind too, and I'm like, I need to go see this land. I need to go there. So I'm on the land, and as I'm walking on the land, quite quickly after walking on the land, I heard this message that said, JD, this is our gift to you. all you have to do is say yes. And I was like, yes, 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 yes. And I received, this is a gift. This is a gift. And so like it was, and I don't know what happened, but we were able to afford it. It's like 40 times bigger than what my limited mind thought. And you recently saw this land too, it's something very special about this land. I don't know what it is. I'm curious your perception of it, but we're in the process. Our family is building this retreat center about learning to reconnect. It's really a retreat center for people like you, Jazz. We're building this My mom and I are building this, or our mom and I are building this for you because
Thank you.
yeah, just doing my soul's calling. How did you feel on that land?
Your land feels so good. It feels so good. It truly feels magical. Like your secret waterfalls, traveling into the jungle and coming across this beautiful river and waterfall is just magical, and it's private, and it's just like, wow, I am already craving to be there. That is going to be my new vacation spot.
Yeah. Well, it's not our land. Mom and I are very conscious that we're stewards of the land. We're there to take
Mm.
care of it. And I remember going to the waterfalls and promising the waterfalls, we will take care of you. Uh, we will go and be there and be in reverence of your beauty and your power. And uh, we will not cut down any trees. We're planting a tropical fruit forest. So we're kind of give back to the animals and the forest, but we promised, like I promised the land, like we are there to protect you. And I don't know of any better investment than protecting rainforest right now. Anyways, I didn't know I was going to talk about this, but I guess it's limiting beliefs, the limiting mind of like, oh, all I need is one acre to create a retreat center, and the universe is like, oh no, 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 JD, no, you need a big tropical piece of land to take care of, and we found 42 acres for you. And this owner, he was a local of the land, and he had other offers that were probably higher than what we offered. Well, we paid him the asking price. We didn't negotiate at all, but he had higher offers than the asking price, and he chose us. So it was something divinely aligned. I'm still in contact with him. He's a beautiful soul, beautiful businessman, and he just like saw our vision and wanted to support us. And anyways, it was divine. It was super divine, and my intuition was there. And my mom and I was so convinced, like this was a big amount of money, and it was just like, mom, this is such an strong intuitive hit. And over the years, um, she has learned, I guess, to honor my intuition as well. Because back 10 years ago, in my 30s, I was like, mom, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think about, for every decision? And now the past decade, we're turning 40 this year, and it's like, oh, I am so strong in my intuition that it's like, yeah, this would be a good investment. And just within months after, acquiring the, changing the name on to the land, we had offers like over $100,000 more offers for this land. And it's like, it is a good investment. And we're not here for an investment. We're here to create a space for people to come together, reconnect to themselves, reconnect to their food source. Can you imagine just picking an avocado from the tree, picking a mango fresh with its life force energy and eating it, and looking at the magical waterfalls? Anyways, we could talk an hour about this retreat center in the future, but this is trusting our intuition part two. But anyways, that was a story of like, okay, I have to trust. This is a chunk of money, and I have to trust. And I am been so clear ever since. And everyone who sees that land, even you, like any of the rational minds, I invite businessmen onto the land. I invite you, strong, logical business women, going like, what do you think? Is this just me and my like intuition? And everyone's like, oh my God, no, this is amazing. So it's very affirming of my intuition too. I have a lot more confidence. But, you know, we have a lot of Costa Rica stories. Do you want to share one of your stories about you trusting intuition? A couple of years ago.
Sure, sure. So this is back in 2021 when we had a bunch of COVID restrictions around traveling. Now, at this time in my life, I was a frontline worker, which means that I was considered an essential service. So I had to be at work working with people who have mental health crises. And even if people were sick in the building, we had to still come to work. We cannot self isolate. We had to be at work.
Mhm.
And in 2021, the government of Canada had made a new rule that we cannot leave the country, we cannot fly out of the country or even go to the United States on November 30th. And I thought that was really disappointing because we had a family vacation booked in December in Costa Rica to celebrate my mom's 60th birthday. It was this big family thing that we've been planning all year. And when we got the news that we couldn't leave the country, I got just a very clear message. Nope, you must be in Costa Rica. You are meant to be in Costa Rica. Don't let the government stop you. So I told my sister, I have a clear vision that we should be there. So I'm going to book my flight out of Canada on November 29th. And I'm just going to trust that because I got this clear vision, it's meant to be. And I'm going to just follow that. But it's a bit scary because a lot of things can happen. I might have gotten COVID right before my trip and I wouldn't have been able to leave. Or with the flights, they could have been delayed and I wouldn't have been able to leave the next day. So I ended up booking my flight the day before the borders closed without any concerns, without any issues. I got my PCR test, was negative. My flight was flawless. It was just so easy and effortless. But it took immense amounts of trusting my intuition to know that I am actually meant to move forward. But I had endless fears and self limiting beliefs that were stopping me, going, this isn't smart. This doesn't make sense. What was your experience arriving to Costa Rica?
Well, I didn't know you had any doubt because I was just holding on to your faith and your intuition. And I was like, at that time in my life, I was probably level 9 out of 10 anxiety. I had never experienced that much anxiety in my life. You're like, I'm going, come with me or not. And it was like a woo. And you said that probably a month, so early no like early October, well, October, and I really wanted to go, but that meant I had to make some serious life changes. So I needed to first be able to rent my house because I my house is extremely expensive. I needed to find a dog sitter for my dog. Like who's gonna watch my dog? I needed to move my company. I have a language school that I was going to companies, and so I had to move my company 100% online. I had to find like virtual assistants. I had to find a team. I had to pack my in all of my stuff in my home, put it in the garage, and declutter and clean everything so I could be able to rent my home. Like there was a lot of steps I needed to do. I was terrified of the PCR test. So I didn't trust that. And it was hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Me and my partner at the time, we went to go get a pre-test to see if like because it's like, oh, if you're positive and negative, you can't go. And I just didn't, I had zero trust in it all. I was so anxious. So to the point where I was like, nope, I'm flying 2 weeks before. So I booked my flight like mid-November to 2 weeks before because, okay, if there's another flight, if there's three other flights that are delayed, I have three other chances. Like it was, I couldn't fly through the States. I had to take a direct. So there's only a few flights available. Like my anxiety was through the roof. And you're just like, I'm fine because my intuition told me so. And I was like, I'm not there yet. Um, but I do have a cool story. Our 30 minutes is almost up already, but I do have a cool story because I was in my stress. I had my home listed, beautiful photos, beautiful everything, like professional, like virtual, you know, video of my home on a chalet rental agency in where I live. And because I wanted to rent it for a couple months, just while I'm in Costa Rica to help pay the bills. And there was no one biting, like no, there was no interest. And I was like, what's happening? And so I was getting a bit frustrated about this. Like, I need to rent my house. This needs to happen. And one Saturday morning, out of the blue, I just got uh, to do a. I think I asked importance of asking questions like, what do I need to do? Like, because I need to be open to receiving guidance. What do I need to do? And I got the message, um, do a post on Kijiji, and I was like, okay, fine. So I did a post in English. Now, this is a very French speaking part of Canada where I live. And I was like, nope, I'm doing it in English super fast. I did it. Usually I take all this time and effort. No, I just did it super fast. Like, and I put it at a higher price point because I put it like the same price point as the chalet rental agency, but I wouldn't have to spend 20% on commission. So I would have received a lot more anyways. Put some pictures, voila, posted it. And a couple of days later, I got a call from this man in Quebec, but his English was perfect. And we instantly hit it off. And he's like, oh, I'm looking for my friend. She's looking for the exact town you live in. She was looking for, it might be longer than like a couple months. Are you open to that? And I was like, well, this is a really big house for one person. Like, does she really want to rent the entire house? Yeah, I'll let you explain. I'll let her explain the story to you. Can we come look at your house on Saturday? Yes, perfect. This is like a week before me flying out. Like, yes, come in 2 days. So clean the house. She walks in. She has animals, so there's a whole like area for animals in the backyard and a whole office for her, and she absolutely loves the house. And she explained to me, she goes, um, I just finished renovating my house. I love my home. And Friday night, my home, there was a fire in my home, very unexpectedly from um, the dryer. And now we have insurance, and insurance is ready to pay even more than what you're charging for your house. So we're happy to pay, whatever asking price you want. Uh, like, yeah, insurance was because all the houses were super expensive where she lives. So up north, like my house was inexpensive for insurance. She's like, I can pay you more, and it's still less than what insurance is able to approved or ready to pay. And then the man was like, he was my age, she was older, and she goes, oh, I never go on Kijiji, I never look at that. He goes, oh yeah, I only look at Kijiji. It's kind of like our generation looks at things on Kijiji, I guess. She'd never looked at Kijiji, and his English was perfect, and hers like, so it was just like, what? And so a date, my intuition was like, I didn't know that this woman, her house burned, and she was looking for a place in my town for this price point. And and he goes, you need to kind of reserve quickly. This is like a really nice chalet area, and this will like be sold really quick. She's like, I approve right now, let's go. So within that whole week, she's sending me like prepayments, and we're signing contracts. And she paid so much more than I was expecting, even more than what I was expecting, like hundreds of dollars more a month than what I was expecting. And it paid for all of my expenses, my home expenses, which they're really expensive home expenses, and it paid for all of my expenses while in Costa Rica. So we were at Costa Rica. That's a whole other thing, following our intuition about finding mansions to live at and house sitting at these gorgeous places. That's a whole other episode. Um, and I was able to live in Costa Rica like for free, pretty much. So people look at my life like, how can JD afford everything? How can she afford that big house? How can she afford traveling? How can she afford like this and that? And it's like, yeah, following my intuition wants more for me than I could have ever imagined for myself. So I told her, I will be in Costa Rica for as long as you want to rent my house. And I stayed. The moment she was like, okay, I my home is being built, I can leave now. I flew home. I flew home a week later. Um, and it was just so aligned. And I'm like, I would never have known. My rational brain would not have known that. And my intuitive something, higher self knew there was a fire. And if I would have posted that maybe a week earlier, no one was looking for that. That was the last thing on her mind. She wasn't looking for a home to rent. So I applied on the day after that happened. And it's like, wow, thank you, intuition. Thank you for this gift. My intuition just gives me so many gifts.
I know. I love that story, JD. I love hearing all your stories because you have endless stories that are just so magical. And it's like, yes, life can be easy and effortless if you follow that inspired action, if you really do trust yourself.
Yeah.
Your life is so magical.
Yeah. Yeah. The less I struggle and the less I'm swimming up the river and I just surrender and I just receive guidance, my life flows with such ease. And this is what I want for all of the listeners. So we're going, Jazz is going to be joining me for a few more, few more episodes, and we're going to be diving into different aspects of intuition. And she's going to be interviewing me some of like the most popular questions and all of that about really connecting to our intuition. I'm so happy you were here today, Jasmine. If anyone wants to learn more about me and my retreats, I invite all of you to visit my website, which is www.intuitivebusinessconnections.com. www.intuitivebusinessconnections.com. And there you can see my other shows on Transformation Talk Radio. You can see all my YouTube videos. You can see the courses I offer, books on Amazon. And really, what I'm really excited about this year is offering these Reconnect Your Intuition retreats and a 25-day sanctuary retreat, really slowing down, connecting to yourself in nature, my beautiful lakefront property outside of Montreal. So I really encourage all of you to visit me there and join Jasmine and I for our next show in a couple weeks. Thanks, Jazz.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you for listening to The Dawn of Intuition. I'm your host, JD Kindred. Tune in every first and third Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio as we learn to listen to that quiet whisper of wisdom from our higher selves. Dare to dream bigger, take inspired action, and live your authentic truth. Live an intuitive life, feeling more joyful and empowered in everything you do. For more tips and tricks, follow me online at www.intuitivebusinessconnections.com.